Julie, you started comedy at 15?
I did.
At the comedy club?
Yeah.
What do you, take me back there.
Well, I was in the, heavily involved with like a Jewish life. And like Hebrew school and stuff. And we had this teacher who did improv, and I don't remember how it went down, but basically we did like stand-up in this weird class. And then these stand-ups came to the temple, and we watched them, and I went up to them after, and I was like, how do you do that? And they're like, oh, you go to the comedy club. And I was like, can I do it? And he goes, yeah, you can, yeah, why don't you come and do 5 minutes? And then I did.
What was the first 5 like?
The first 5 was literally talking about math class. My mom having a station wagon. And then impressions of like impressions of Julia Child and Bruce Springsteen and, you know, basic.
But you were 15 and you got up at the comedy club. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I wonder how the comics were that came out to the temple.
It was, I can tell you exactly who it was.
Okay.
Tony V. From Tony V in Boston.
Shout out.
And Mike Bent. Mike something boy scientist Bent. But Tony V, you can look him up. He's like a staple in Boston.
Wow.
And he's
at the Comedy Connection?
At the Comedy Connection. The Comedy Connection. Yes.
I remember the Comedy Connection.
Yeah.
I went to school in Boston.
Yeah, so you know.
He got paid. He rolled out to the temple and did his.
He did.
He's like, I'm changing young Jewish lives.
You have to imagine now after going out or whatever, you know, like, you know, these guys went to some youth group thing at the temple and had to do stand-up.
Right.
You know, after that, they left and
got wasted.
Yeah. Wasted. And they were like, some little lesbo came up and wanted to know how to do 5 minutes. And they're just like, ugh, you know?
She killed. She killed. I can't believe that 15-year-old killed.
Oh, I'm sure you probably have seen her since on whatever shows. He saw you on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I wonder.
I was like, that bitch.
I tried to reach out to him 10 years later or whatever and was just like, thank you so much. And I don't know that he really responded. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Tony V, you're no Richard Toma, okay? Now, Julie, you and me met briefly in the East Village.
Yes.
During our early comedy days. I think it's Surf Reality?
I want to say Surf Reality, which obviously has been closed for 10 million years.
I know, an alternative comedy hotspot. My first memory of you is when I was upstairs at CBGB's Rock Club doing the debut performance of Gay Pimp.
Oh my God.
And you were downstairs at CBGB's Rock Club doing Indigo Etheridge, your Melissa Etheridge parody character.
That's
and
crazy.
We met on the stairs and we kind of were like, hey. And we were like, gay stuff. And then we went back and did our shows.
How weird is that?
And then later we met again on Big Gay Sketch Show.
And that's really where
How long was that time before Big Gay Sketch Show? Do you guys know?
like
Like
that
a
was
year?
Like 2002 that we probably did the CBGB thing, and then Big Gay Sketch Show was like, what, 4 years later or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Big Gay Sketch Show, we started to become close because the first episode was a live stage pilot. They didn't film a pilot, it was a stage show, and anyone could be fired at any minute. And so Julie and I would go upstairs and smoke cigarettes vigorously, being like, God, I hope we don't get fired.
I mean, can you believe that we lived just that whole experience? We had to do musical numbers. Liza Minnelli came. It was
Andy Cohen way long before.
That came then.
But
yeah.
that still was much
That's
before
right.
early Andy Cohen.
That's right.
You know.
Yep. That pilot though. There's nothing that will compare to.
It was
literally like, welcome to the Big Gay Sketch Show.
It was pretty awful,
like that.
and I can't believe it actually became a show.
Yeah,
because it
was
was
like
during
that.
Rosie's showbiz phase. So there were numbers, there was fun, there was sensitive moments. Everyone.
Yeah.
And Julie famously did an improv with Rosie that will never leave my mind. That's 2 inappropriate
Too
to
hot.
talk about today.
Too hot for TV,
but
honey.
needless to say, Rosie was playing a character she played in a TV movie and wanted Julie to improv as that character's friend. And I was sitting at the desk being like, I cannot believe I'm watching this. Can't wait to talk to Julie about this after.
Oh, there's a lot to, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you guys met also thanks to the Big Gay Sketch Show.
Yep.
Because you met on where all friends of lesbians and lesbians meet on a Rosie cruise.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah, we went. Now it was like the first Rosie cruise that she took Big Gay Sketch on. Now you
Yeah.
didn't go, Jonny, but
Right.
But we famously, Julie and I, Nicole Payon and Kate sat in a room and they played your entire CD that was out at that time. It was like the legend of Jonny and your whole entourage and just like, because you were just like a legend, and they were just soups into it, even though you weren't there. And
I was
remember, like,
hosting the Rent Boy Awards at that time because I'm classy. Now, you guys connected on that trip. And then, Brandy, everyone loved you so much on that trip that they invited you on the next Rosie cruise we went on.
Right, everyone except the friend I went on the trip with, who I hate now. And and then you were on that trip,
Right.
and that was great. And then we got to meet, and I had already known the legend of you from that original trip. I mean, the Rosie cruises were fun. You know,
Yeah.
what can you do? That cruise was through Canada and New England, as you do.
Right.
Just a dream trip through Maine. I don't even know, New Hampshire.
Yeah, we drove. It was
Yeah.
a trip for a hardy woman and a hardy
Yeah.
man because it was chilly and there was no beaching, just
No.
trumps looking at seals and wooded areas. And I said, "This is good."
Yeah. We were in sweaters, and I'm like, yeah, what town in Canada is this?
Yeah.
Just a strange port.
and then look what happened. We all just went on and did your podcast.
Well, we kept doing stuff together.
We
I mean,
did do stuff
nonstop.
together.
Julie, you moved to Los Angeles.
Yes.
And that's when you and Brandy started to become writing partners.
Even before.
Well, we started writing before that because we were writing when I lived in New York. Because we wrote our first feature while I was still in New York.
Yeah.
And
a huge success.
huge.
A
All
wonderful
of our
breakthrough.
writings, all of our writings line the cage of one bird or another.
Well, when you came out here, you started to go out and write for TV shows as a team. You worked on Fashion Police.
Yes, we did do that.
You worked on that show about lady stand-ups, whose names I can't remember.
We did do that too.
Funny Girls. Yeah.
Now, what was it about each other that clicked that you knew you were going to be a great team?
Well, it's not that interesting. But the thing is that I'm a perfectionist and Julie isn't, so she can just if we have a story that we want to write, she'll just vomit it out and then I'll edit it.
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of, it can be a separate process, or we can sit there together and then she just doesn't care. She just doesn't edit herself. And I'll be like, this is just dumb. This is a pile of garbage. I don't even want to be a part of this. And then she's like, just keeps going. And then it's all there. And it's like, okay, let's just fix this now. And that's how we do it every time. You got to have somebody who's willing to just get it on the page.
But also, if we're when we're doing the podcast or whatever, if I don't have any editing skills. That's true. But I could say something, or you'll say something, and then I'll say something. But her genius is like crafting it to its apex.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Or I'll be like, that's garbage, and then Joan Rivers will pick it, and I'll be like, well, I shouldn't have judged that. That made it in the show. That's a lot. The Fashion Police was a lot of learning too, because we had to
That's
turn
true.
in so many jokes, and I would be so it was way too neurotic about the process. Julie would not care. She'd be like, that just looks like someone ran out of a burning building, and I'd be like, we can't send that, and then it would get in the show. So that's just what it is just that the team of just being able to just do both together.
Because when you guys were on Fashion Police, it was during the very intense writing cycle of that show where they'd be like, all right, we need you here from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. and we need 50 jokes a look. Go!
Yeah.
And we would turn in 5 and be like, can we have a raise? I mean, we would turn in the least amount and ask for a raise
Well,
every
it got
time.
to
We
the
thought
point
we were amazing.
We did. It just fizzled. It just got to a point where you just couldn't. You just could. How much more can be said about Beyonce's ass or J-Lo's ass or whoever's ass? Like you can only, you know what I mean? And then it got to a point where it's just like, we just want to say Holocaust things because that's what makes Joan Rivers laugh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Now, it was thanks to you guys and our friendship that I decided to move here to Los Angeles because I said, well, if Julie can do it, and I know the two of them are out here.
Yeah.
It felt safe for me to move out here. And you guys started doing my podcast, Gayest of All Time, with me.
Yep, and you flourished.
And
we
you
did.
fully eclipsed our career, and here we are. You're welcome. Oh, God.
We've got a picture of us from back in the day. I don't know exactly what picture this is, so fingers crossed.
Sure, it's Corgi.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
That's where
Free
we're-
beard. You
we're
guys
hu-
look the same.
We're
and I look
husband
like
and
I'm
wife,
80.
and Julie's our child.
Yes,
the one where
exactly.
Julie's
That's
our little son.
classic with our little son,
Yeah.
Julie. Our littlest boy.
And that was at Scissor Sisters.
All right. You guys did jump onto the TV screens because you were on the People's Couch on Bravo, which really opened you up to a whole new audience.
That's true.
Or an audience.
Yeah, an audience.
Now, they filmed that at your house, Brandy.
Yes. I remember going, after we filled out a bunch of lies on the application. And then I remember we went to your house. I don't know if it was your birthday. I remember being at your house when they was sitting at your table and they were asking Julie, like, don't you know like a rich lesbian where you can just film it there? And we're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Hold
do.
on, let me get my Rolodex out of rich lesbians with mansions.
Yeah, so we did it at my house, and that was, I didn't want to do it at my house. It's a complete inconvenience. You know, you just want to go somewhere and then go home. But ultimately, of course, it was worth it. I mean, and I don't even know, Andy Cohen had nothing to do with that show, but we went to Andy Cohen's book signing from the very, years before because of Andy Cohen being on the Big Gay Sketch Show.
Oh, right.
So that was, always helpful, that appearance when he was, a sister wife or whatever
Yeah, he
that
did
was.
the sister wife reunion.
Right, because he remembered you from that.
Yeah. I mean, he does have a good memory.
And
Yeah,
then you
I'll
guys
give
were
that.
on Watch What Happens Live.
We did that a couple times. Yep.
And you fell into the hearts of America. You became America's les and straight sweethearts.
It was a wonderful time that's now gone.
Well,
Just the best years of our lives are behind us, and now it's a pandemic with Trump.
And for some people, they really did think that we were
Awesome.
a man and a woman.
wow. You guys must also, as everyone watching this is saying, are they a couple? You guys are not a couple. You're besties. You're friends. Brandy is married to a man.
Don't judge me.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Oh, and one
crazy.
thing I forgot to mention is, Brandy, you met your husband when you're youth, and then you both got married on a reality show.
Yeah, on a TV show.
And I have a picture of that in the booth, if they can find it.
Oh, Lord. I'm not going to lie.
There it is, you and your cute hub. Wow, getting married.
There's the People's Couch house. Still same house. Same house. Wow.
Now, one of the other fun things that you guys got to do from being on Bravo is you also hosted the Vanderpump Rules after show.
Yeah.
Now, that was like jumping right into the TV because
I mean-
they were just, it was like two Bravo worlds colliding. What was that experience like?
That was fun. That was fun. I mean, it was a lot of
For Julie, that was better just because she always felt like with People's Couch that we kind of were being professional jock sniffers, you know? Because we're just watching TV, and it wasn't with that show, the hosting that, we had to audition. It was a huge audition process, and it came down between us and other people, and we just, made more money, and we just felt like more of, we weren't, even though that was also being a professional jock sniffer, that's what we were there doing. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was completely fanning out the whole entire time, but, it was just more of a real job that was really hard to get, and just felt more important, though it wasn't.
No, that's true. At the time, I do look back at myself and go, "You asshole."
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would way be more. If I could do People's Couch again and do that, I'd be thrilled. I'd do it for the rest of my life.
We were watching TV.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
watching
I
TV.
think, and so it would be more of a thing when the producers or other people would just sort of see you as, or my perception of it then was that they're just seeing me as some fan, that's what I am. And then I think my ego and stuff just couldn't deal with it.
Right, because I'm not a fan, I'm a star! I'm a star!
Right. So that's obviously lame, because that's a great job, and we had fun together, and we could do it together, and then we did Vanderpump, which was also fun, but it was also like, you know, it was like, more energy, girls, more energy, like stuff like that, and you're like, oh, God. So
Welcome back to the Vanderpump Rules after show.
Yeah. Again, try it again, up, and then we just have like that. Like, and just, no.
And they were all in the background fighting, being exactly who they are on the show, right next to you, like, oh my God, Jack, shut the hell up.
Yeah, and that was great.
Hello, children.